Dolores has been in an accident. She's hurt and on the way to the hospital in an ambulance right now.
My husband, Noah, suddenly called and said in a panic. Noah was supposed to be at work at this time.
What? An accident, an injury, is that true? Yeah, it's true. She had a bicycle accident. She keeps mumbling and repeating, "Hurry and come, Mommy," over and over.
Our daughter, Dolores, was in the midst of her summer break and, after lunch, rode her bike out to play with friends.
What? No way, Dolores.
Dolores? Ah. The moment I mentioned Dolores's name, Noah's previously energetic voice suddenly halted. Then, regaining an unnatural calm, he said, "Forget what I just said." Anyway, and without waiting for my response, he unilaterally ended the call. Noah's behavior worried me, but at the moment, all I could think about was the injured Dolores. I rushed out the door so fast that I didn't even stop to change. As I burst outside, someone came running toward me and our heads collided. Ouch! Mommy, you gotta be careful, or you'll end up in an accident too. Good thing I was wearing my helmet. There stood Dolores, looking no different than she did before leaving the house. My name is Olivia Ichimura, a 42-year-old part-time housewife. After becoming a bit sedentary in my adult life, I joined a community tennis club, where I met the man who would become my husband, Noah Smith. Neither of us remember who approached the other first, but soon enough, we were dating. Then, one day, a year after we met.
Please marry me.
I'm the one who should be saying please, thank you. Noah, with his pure, sparkling eyes, confessed his love like a boy, and my heart was deeply touched. Almost a year after our wedding, I gave birth to our first daughter, Dolores.
Look, doll, Daddy's home.
Noah was so smitten with his daughter, it was almost comical. Watching them together warmed my heart, reassuring me I made the right choice marrying him. Once Dolores started kindergarten, her outgoing nature quickly won her friends, and she'd excitedly share her daily experiences with us.
There's this girl, Dorothy. She's really nice.
That's great to hear. I hope you two become even closer. Dorothy, huh? Then she's also a dolly, Noah said, humorously feeling an immediate kinship. Stop it. That's so confusing. You might mix it up someday and embarrass yourself. If that happens, it'll be hilarious. Noah laughed. As our children got along so well, we quickly became friends with Dorothy's parents. I am always grateful to you for your hospitality. Please be a good friend with her. Dorothy's parents, the Brown couple, were both approachable and cheerful. Half a year after meeting, we frequently visited each other's homes and even enjoyed barbecues on long weekends, deepening our relationship. Dorothy's mother, Sophia, was on the tennis team during her student days and even competed in nationals. She had been intrigued by Noah's name from the beginning.
I thought the name sounded familiar. I've always admired him. To think I'd meet that Noah in such a way, it's like a miracle.
Her eyes shining with excitement. I was unaware, having had little to do with sports as a student, but apparently my husband held some renown in the student tennis community. Enjoying the glory days being brought up, Noah, in high spirits, gestured with his racket hand. How about this weekend we play together?
I'd really like to see Sophia play tennis,
I said, having grown quite comfortable with Sophia. Her husband James unfortunately had to decline due to work but encouraged her with, "Since it's such a good opportunity, you should go." And so, we started playing tennis with Sophia every weekend. Sophia, having competed at the national level, was well matched for Noah's quick movements, unlike me, who was doing it just for fitness. I would quickly get out of breath and have to sit on the bench to rest while they continued playing. When Noah made a powerful smash to win a game, Sophia ran over saying, "Noah is incredible." So impressive, and pressed a drink chilled from the cooler against Noah's cheek. Noah couldn't help but shout, "Cold," and Sophia laughed merrily at his reaction. An elderly couple walking by commented, "Look, dear. What a lovely couple. Yes, we had our days like that, they reminisced, looking at Noah and Sophia as if they were a couple. Thinking about it, Noah and Sophia could very well appear as a couple to outsiders. Which made me feel a bit blue. Whether Noah knew about my feelings or not, he began going out to play tennis with Sophia whenever they could find time, even when I wasn't around. Did you go out with Sophia again, just the two of you? I would have come along if you had asked me. I found out that the two of them had gone out to play tennis only after the fact, whenever a sweat-drenched Noah returned home and I saw his tennis bag. I thought you'd be tired from household chores and your part-time job. I was trying to be considerate, you know. I tried to believe it was his way of showing kindness. Eventually, Noah and Sophia also began going shopping and taking the kids to and from kindergarten together. Don't you think you've been going out with Sophia too much lately? When I confronted Noah, he showed me a small wrapped piece of jewelry. I was actually planning to give this to you on your birthday. Asked Sophia for advice on what to get you, he said with an untroubled smile. Before our marriage, Noah often enjoyed planning surprises for me. Realizing he still loved me just as much reassured me. Come fall, the kindergarten hosted a recital.
It's Dolores's first performance. I've gotta make sure the video camera's rolling.
Noah even took a day off so that we could both attend. James from the Brown family showed up initially, but soon left the kindergarten. Is it work? Must be tough. James looked uncomfortable and replied vaguely, well, that's it, and quickly walked away. I'm sorry. Recently, he's been in a bad mood because work isn't going so well, Sophia apologized in his stead. Though the recital ended successfully, around that time James began avoiding us. It feels like James is avoiding us, I expressed my anxiety. You're overthinking it. He's probably just preoccupied with work, Sophia said with a wry smile. The once friendly James suddenly turned cold, making me feel a bit lonely, but Sophia didn't seem too bothered. Our interaction with the Brown family continued, and as Dolores entered elementary school, she suddenly wanted her own bicycle. Dorothy's getting one, too. She would tug on my apron, pleading. Overhearing the conversation, Noah folded his newspaper and chuckled. We can get her a bike, can't we? Really? You're usually saying not to give children everything they want right away. If she doesn't have a bike, it'll be hard to go out with her friends, won't it? I'll buy it for her. That so? If you say so. Though surprised, I chose to trust Noah's kindness toward his daughter. On Sunday, Noah and Dolores went to a store to buy a bicycle. Coming home, Dolores proudly wore her brand new pink helmet, checking herself out in the mirror repeatedly.
Mom, Dorothy and I got matching helmets. Dorothy's mom said this suits me best.
Sophia was with you? Well, yes, something like that. Noah replied awkwardly. By the time Dolores reached second grade, it had become normal for her and Dorothy to go out on their bikes together.
Do your homework first. I will after I get back.
That was our typical mother-daughter daily exchange. During the summer break, we hadn't gone on any trips because of Noah's work, but Dolores was happy to spend plenty of time playing with Dorothy. After finishing lunch, she'd hastily set aside her summer homework and rush out on her bike. It happened one evening. I received an urgent phone call from Noah.
Doll's been in an accident. She's on her way to the hospital in an ambulance right now. What? An accident, she's injured, is that true? Yes, it's true. She crashed her bike. Dolores is in the ambulance, repeating deliriously over and over. Come quick, Mommy. That can't be, Dolores.
Doll? Noah's vigorous voice suddenly faded. Then, regaining an unnatural calm, he said, forget what I just said. Anyway, and ended the call abruptly before I could reply. I was concerned about Noah's behavior, but at the moment, I could only think about Dolores being injured. I rushed out without even changing. The moment I left, someone came hurtling towards me from outside, and we collided heads. Ouch. Mommy, if you panic like that, you'll have an accident. Good thing I was wearing my helmet. She was there, just as she was before I left. Dolores, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? Don't you have any injuries? As I checked her, asking rapidly. Dolores frowned as if tickled and reassured me, I'm fine with things like this. Are you okay, Mommy? I just got a call from your father saying you had an accident on your bicycle. Eh? What's that about? I don't know anything. She replied, looking genuinely clueless with round eyes wide open. He said you were on your way to the hospital in an ambulance.
That's a lie. I'm fine. Look, no injuries anywhere, see?
Brushing the sand off her pants and twirling around to show me. Indeed, Dolores didn't seem to have any injuries. Was it a mistake? Was I dreaming? But checking my phone's call log, I saw that Noah had indeed called 10 minutes earlier. And now I remembered his odd parting words, forget what I just said. When I tried calling Noah back, after a few rings, I was connected to Noah's despondent voice. Noah, Dolores is fine. Just got home and doesn't seem injured at all. What's going on? What was that call about? About earlier, that's why it's nothing. Forget it, ha ha ha. He said, trying to laugh it off. But in the background, there was the sound of commotion. Check for any abnormalities in the brain. Hurry up. Yes, doctor. Came a response, clearly tense and urgent. Are you sure it's nothing? Because I can hear something in the background. It's the TV. At work, we've started watching medical dramas while we get on with our tasks. Noah said and hung up before I could respond further. He's too busy to call, but can watch a TV drama? No matter how much I redialed, Noah's phone was off. As darkness fell and I thought about reheating the soup for dinner, Noah called again. Sorry, work won't finish today, I need to stay over. Okay. I hung up nodding, reheated the soup, and sat down for dinner. The next day. Dolores came back from school with a grim look on her face. Ordinarily, she'd be rushing out on her bike to play by now. You see, today at school, the teacher told me that. According to her story, yesterday, Dorothy had been in a bicycle accident and had been taken to the hospital. The teacher didn't know the extent of the injury or any details. Yesterday's bike accident. Noah's strange phone call came back to me. I couldn't help but think it was related. I said goodbye to Dorothy yesterday and that's when it happened. She said as she looked back on the previous day and burst into tears. I want to visit Dorothy in the hospital. So, I quickly got ready and we headed to the hospital where Dorothy was reportedly admitted.
Dolores! You came.
As we entered the room, Dorothy seemed much livelier than I expected, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Sophia was sitting beside the bed. Olivia, Dolores. Thank you for coming. Yet for some reason, she quickly averted her gaze from me. I was shocked. They told me she was rushed to the hospital after a bicycle accident. According to Sophia, Dorothy's injury was just a small fracture in her arm, and they didn't expect a lengthy hospital stay. I'm sorry. It seems like we've caused Noah some trouble too. At that moment, I responded with a puzzled, eh? Why would Noah's name come up in this situation? True, I had received that strange phone call from Noah about my daughter's bicycle accident the previous day, but Noah had repeatedly dismissed it as a mistake. Why do you mention him? Is he related to this accident? When I asked, it was Sophia's turn to look surprised. Eh? You mean Noah didn't tell you about Dorothy's accident? I explained that I had learned of Dolores's accident through information Dolores received from her school teacher. Sophia let slip a regretful oh no, and displayed a clearly guilty expression. There must have been some truth behind that earlier call. I found myself having no choice but to believe it. Can you tell me what happened yesterday? I asked, attempting to keep a smile and remain calm. Sophia stammered, unable to answer smoothly. You see, Auntie, Dorothy began narrating what happened during the accident with no regard for adult concerns. Indeed, she had been involved in an accident just after parting ways with Dolores. Dorothy mentioned catching sight of Sophia and Noah holding hands and walking in the distance, and when she tried to approach them, it happened.
Whoa! Dorothy! Stop!
Sophia tried to interrupt Dorothy's account. Go on, please. I want to hear more about what happened. Dorothy smiled and continued her story. She had been trying to get the attention of Sophia and Noah when she unfortunately collided head-on with a pickup truck coming from a side street. Although the truck had slowed down, Dorothy's small body was flung from her bike. Thankfully, she landed on soft farm soil, not concrete, and was wearing a helmet, so she narrowly avoided severe injury. It seemed both Sophia and Noah, being too far off, hadn't noticed Dorothy's accident. Sophia parted ways with Noah at another corner thereafter, disappearing from sight. It was Noah who found Dorothy later and realized something was wrong. You know, Dolores's dad stayed with me all the way to the hospital. Dorothy recounted cheerfully. That's good to hear, I said, and glancing at Sophia, who remained silent, head bowed. What's wrong, Sophia? You don't look well. It's nothing. Her voice trembled as she struggled to answer. It's time for dinner, so we should head back now.
Bye, Dolores. Bye, Dorothy.
Dorothy's face stayed bright with a smile, but Sophia remained silent until Dolores and I left the room. Dorothy's mom seemed down, didn't she? She must be tired from taking care of Dorothy. I responded vaguely, stroking my daughter's hair gently. When we arrived home, Noah was already back. You're home early today. Yeah. It seemed he had already been informed about our hospital visit by Sophia. Noah was acting fidgety and appeared to be struggling to come up with something to say. I went to visit Dorothy today at the hospital. Oh. Is that so? How's her injury then? Ah. I didn't mention anything about Dorothy being injured and in the hospital. It could have been an illness, couldn't it? Well, I just had a hunch. Noah was clearly rattled. Well, that's all right. I reported Dorothy's condition to him. But it seems like you know something more, don't you? What could you be talking about? I pressed him about the phone call from the previous day. It was just a joke. I was trying to scare you. But I never imagined that on the same day Dorothy would actually have an accident and be hospitalized. I guess even joking like that can be wrong. Anyway, bath time. I didn't get to take one yesterday because I was so busy. After his flurry of words, Noah hurried off to the bathroom like he was escaping. I could hear him humming along with the sound of the shower starting. Now's my chance. I picked up Noah's smartphone left on the table and opened his email folder. If my suspicions were correct, I'd find some kind of clue. Noah must be communicating often with Sophia, but I found no trace of any exchanges with her in the usual mail folder. I thought it was strange, so I checked the free mail folder as a precaution. The folder was locked, but I remembered something Dolores mentioned before. Dorothy's mom has the same birthday as Grandpa, just one day apart. Trying my father's birthday plus one day, I easily unlocked it. There was a history of exchanges with Sophia packed in it. He thought correspondence through a free address couldn't be traced. The contents of the emails were filled with words of affection that could make the reader blush. I quickly returned the phone to its place as the shower stopped. Noah came out from the bath, still humming the tune he'd been singing, and checked for any new messages on his phone. Expecting a message from someone? No, it's work-related. Noah hastily tried to hide his phone behind him, but it was too late. He didn't realize I had seen everything. For the next few days, we never mentioned Dorothy's accident. Our relationship on the surface appeared normal with routine greetings and small talk. But I hadn't forgiven Noah and Sophia for their secret affair. In fact, I wanted to cut ties and leave this house immediately. But I acted as usual for Dolores's sake. She was keenly observant, even asking if I was feeling all right when I first suspected Noah and Sophia's affair. I didn't want to burden my kind daughter any more than I had to. But I knew a resolution was inevitable. I made up my mind and invited the Shinoda couple over. I have just one chance today. I repeated to myself in the mirror, trying not to let myself back out. Today was a day off for both Noah and Sophia's husband, James. I didn't want Dolores to hear such adult matters, but luckily, she was at school for rabbit duty that day. James said that Dorothy is recovering well. She might be discharged in another 2 or 3 days. That's great to hear. I was relieved by the good news from James. Wanting to finish our conversation before Dolores returned from school, I got straight to the point. Sophia, how long have you been involved with my husband? Whoa, what are you starting with all of a sudden? That's right, Olivia. You don't think Noah and I would have that kind of relationship, do you? Both Noah and Sophia tried to laugh it off. I swiftly grabbed Noah's smartphone from the corner of the table, opened the email, and read the exchange between him and Sophia aloud. Here's the best evidence. Can you explain this?
You. When did you? It's outrageous for someone to snoop on another person's phone like that. That's right. Even if you're married, reviewing your spouse's phone without permission is a violation of privacy.
The two of them, setting aside their actions, started to blame me unilaterally. So you're admitting to the relationship? They were silent abruptly. No matter what they say, it can't change the fact of the affair. Both of them are aware of it. After a lull in the conversation, James, who had been silent thus far, stood up and scattered dozens of photos across the table.
This is.
Sophia frantically scrambled to gather the photos, but I was quicker and snatched several of them. The pictures showed Noah and Sophia entering and leaving a hotel. In all the pictures, they were wearing different clothes. It was taken on different days as evidenced by their varied attire. It proved they weren't just meeting once but were often rendezvousing at the hotel. Couldn't be, have you been following us all this time? Sophia glared at James like a demon, but he coolly denied it. I've been busy with work. There's no way that could be. In truth, James had realized their relationship earlier than I did. And he had secretly hired a detective agency to investigate, without Sophia's knowledge. Yet even after the affair was confirmed, James hadn't confronted it, considering the friendship between the children and potential biases in custody disputes during a divorce. But, Olivia, when you asked Sophia and me to come today, I knew this day would come, and I was ready for it. James had decided he could no longer ignore the fact of the affair and brought the investigation report and the incriminating photos with him. Cornered, Noah and Sophia finally admitted to the affair. They had clicked over tennis and started communicating even when I wasn't around. Initially, their relationship didn't go beyond being parents of friends. But eventually, romantic feelings developed. I can't explain it well, but I couldn't get her out of my mind. Me too, Noah. Listening to such statements made me question reality. I wondered if I was still a parent with a child, and I felt like I didn't want to accept the reality. When Dorothy was in the accident, they were returning from the hotel, trying to take separate paths to avoid being seen. Sophia had turned the corner first, oblivious to Dorothy. Consumed with the thrill of spending time with Noah. She didn't notice her daughter reaching out, calling, Mama, Mama. She didn't notice her daughter reaching out, calling, Mommy, Mommy. When Noah finally noticed something was wrong, he rushed to Dorothy. There was the pickup truck driver, and the ambulance had already been called. Inside the ambulance, Dorothy cried out again for her mother, so a conscience-stricken Noah decided to call. But in his panic, Noah dialed my number by mistake. The moment I mentioned Dolores's name, Noah realized his mistake. But failed to find a good excuse in time, abruptly ending the call with forget it. Why did I make such a careless excuse? Noah now can't recall why he said that. I immediately contacted Sophia, and it seems that when she showed up at the hospital room, Noah had just left. He probably suspected that I might come looking for the room after hearing the news somewhere, so he was on the alert. Approaching my home, I couldn't think of a good explanation and ended up spending the night in a business hotel under the guise of work.
Well, it's out in the open now, no use crying over spilled milk. All right, I've decided. I'm gonna remarry Sophia. Thank you, Noah. I'm happy too.
I was so flabbergasted, I was at a loss for words. Is that really what you two want? James asked with a hint of anger in his low voice. That's right. I've made up my mind. Since the affair's been discovered, I've decided to take it as a plus, no need to sneak around anymore. Don't think this is gonna be the end of it, you two. If you're set on this path, I've got my plans too. When I gave James a meaningful look, he understood my intent and nodded firmly. Yes, I'll make an appearance in court and fight with all I've got. I have a friend from college who's a lawyer, I'll consult with him. Do whatever you want. Our love won't change. Noah said defiantly, pulling Sophia closer to him. I waited for my daughter, Dolores, to return and spent that night in a hotel. The next day, I decided to take Dolores and go back to my parents' house until the divorce was final. Dolores was initially happy at the prospect of playing with her grandparents, but as she realized she wouldn't see Noah, she lost her cheer. Eventually, Noah and I finalized our divorce. Thanks to the lawyer that James introduced, I was able to get a decent amount of alimony and child support from Noah. Around the same time, James and Sophia also got divorced, securing their own alimony and child support. Yet, even in such straits, Noah would say proudly in front of Sophia, I get to be with the woman I love. I'll front the alimony and child support. Can't I live with Daddy anymore? Night after night, Dolores would cry from the loneliness of not being able to see Noah. I'm sorry, Dolores. It was all I could say as I hugged my daughter. With the divorce as a turning point, Dolores and I moved to a small apartment. In place of us, Sophia moved into Noah's house. Their happiness at being together without restraint was short-lived. Noah's parents, as well as Sophia's, were not pleased with their relationship. My usually mild-mannered father-in-law was so furious he cut ties with Noah. It was only natural that he had betrayed his beloved granddaughter in the worst possible way. Nevertheless, Noah and Sophia lived carelessly for a few weeks until the rumors of the affair spread through the neighborhood. Soon, they were subjected to scorn wherever they went, and they had to leave town within 3 months. I heard Noah was having a tough time at work due to the rumors. For me, now a stranger to them, their fate didn't matter at all. I threw myself into my part-time job more fervently than ever to support Dolores. I couldn't afford to look back. From time to time, James would drop by with his daughter, Dorothy, to check on us.
I brought you souvenirs from my last business trip. Such fine tea leaves. Thank you, as always.
Since the accident, Dorothy stopped riding bicycles out of fear. But she still enjoys playing card games with Dolores. Kids are much tougher than us adults think, I mused. I've decided. No matter what happens, I'm gonna protect that child's smile. I feel the same, James said, smiling warmly. Years passed, and both Dolores and Dorothy grew into charming young women who fell in love and got married.
Mom, I'm home.
Dolores said as she visited my apartment over the holiday break with her newborn girl in her arms. Beside her, Dorothy held her own baby girl.
We bumped into each other at the station. Can you believe we were on the same train without noticing?
Both of you married and had your babies around the same time? You are inseparable. I laughed.
The babies, catching our mood, laughed along with us.